Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of JoshL6. We are currently on level 11, Serene Village. Let's just go ahead and get started. So I remember this level. This was made several years ago for a crate competition on CC Zone forums. And I want to say that the competition involved... Yeah, this was the one that involved using the tile palettes, wasn't it? Because I remember this palette of tiles. It was force fours, blue walls, toggle walls, invisible walls, tanks, and then keys and doors and chips and floor. I'm probably missing. Oh yeah, sockets and exits, of course, and then toggle buttons. Um, I want to say that this level, this palette was also the one that Key Insight from CCLP4 was ultimately based on. Also, I'm hoping I didn't miss anything, so let's just go around and make sure. I currently have 23 remaining, so I'm going to assume that we're fine. But yeah, this is interesting because you have all these nails here, and I don't know if there's a specific order that you're supposed to visit the rooms in, but I'm just going to go through and act like I can go to each one at a time no matter what the order is. So, is there one? Okay, I just have to do that because that was the red door, right? So I need to do blue for this one, but I need to open up the toggle first. Okay. Where do I do that? This is a big old room, as Josh likes to say. There we go. Alright, so we got that, and now I believe we hit both buttons to... Yeah, I have to get rid of that. So I don't want to get all the chips here, because I'm seeing the socket nail, and that indicates pretty much that if I get the chips there last... Oh no, I just noticed. I just noticed. Right there. I missed one. Okay, we're going to have to start over. So I believe it was 22, was it? Or 23. Was it 22 or 23 that we had determined was the correct number? How did I miss that? Man, I feel like an idiot now. Oh, speaking of idiot, you know what movie I watched the other day that I haven't seen in like forever? Napoleon Dynamite. Oh my gosh. I love that movie. I know it's one of those movies that like you either love it or you hate it. I happen to be on the love it train for Napoleon Dynamite. I think it's a really funny movie. Like the style of humor and just the capturing of small town life, like everything about it is just so well done, and I absolutely adore it. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna try going for the yellow door first this time, and I think yeah I need to do the tank here. But yeah, I absolutely love the line delivery, just the situations everybody's in, and how random and weird they are. Like everything about Napoleon Dynamite, I just adore. All right, so we do that. Switch that one, and now we just get blue. But yeah, I remember back in the day, everyone would like unironic, well, not unironically, most of the time it was ironically, but people would be quoting that movie like crazy and say things like idiot and gosh and stuff, and it was always fun. I loved hearing people quote that. Oh wait, I wasn't supposed to reverse that. That's right. Did I reverse that? I must have, because the tank state for the last room and the tank state for this room are the same. So you don't actually have to visit them in that order. But I do need to reverse both of them to go over here. And I need to also get the green key, apparently. So there's no green key nails, which is helpful. Alright, so now I can get all the rest of these. I don't even need to open those up. And we're done. Alright, so that was fun. Ooh, this is the first level that I haven't actually beaten yet. I think I've just been scared of optimizing this one. Valley of Darkness. Yeah, this is the one... I remember seeing this one. This is the one where you had to, like, get certain you have to build this path, but there's certain spots where there's invisible walls and stuff. Really cool idea. I really like this idea. I think it's
Mm,
really cool. So here's the thing. I'm gonna get into one of my level design chats here again. I
mm,
I've kind of come around when it comes to these kinds of levels because back in the day, I wasn't the biggest fan of these levels that had like a
mm,
singular concept. I always called them like one note affairs. I think that was the term I used back when I did my Let's Play of the original Chips Challenge game. And I think it was mainly just because the original game was like that, where there were all these levels that were just very tedious and boring, and it just wasn't very fun overall. And so I kind of just wanted more variety, just more stuff to do, just something to spice stuff up. And I think after CCLP 3, I kind of had started having that change of heart a little bit because that set is so
mm,
filled with
mm,
like tons of variety levels, but the irony in it is that the the variety ends up becoming homogenous,
mm,
which is a weird thing to say, but it's like, it's kind of like a paradox, right? But I think at the end of the day, that's kind of what started turning me on to like levels that had a cool idea and just ran with it.
mm,
And I think part of the other thing that kind of helped me change my mind on it a little bit too was just the fact that more designers overall had more of a sense of like
mm,
proper scaling when it came to their stuff.
mm,
That's a topic that's something I can get kind of a little passionate about nowadays. But I always love it when levels are. I just ruined it. I always
mm,
love it when levels are scaled appropriately. I think if a designer knows how far to take a concept, I'm probably going to like the concept more. But it's sometimes hard to really gauge it. It's not always the easiest thing in the world to do, especially when you yourself are the designer and you don't always know what exactly is reasonable. Like this level, I feel like this scaling is reasonable. Like it doesn't take up the whole
mm.
level. It's just, you know, maybe 28 by 28. I could be wrong on that, but I'm gonna guess that it's maybe 25 by 25. You know what? Let's count this.
Mm.
I'm really curious now. We have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 1, 2, 3. Okay, 23 by 23, if I counted correctly. That's not very big. I mean, I think a lot of people underestimate just how much of space you end up eliminating whenever you like count out the edges and stuff. So I remember a few years back, Andrew Menzies posted something on the Discord, I think it was, where he mentioned if you get rid of just like the
Mm,
outer two rows or columns of space in a level, that's like a significant percentage, much more than you would think, of the total surface area. Like that's something that, like, of course, in math terms, that makes perfect sense, right? But like when I'm designing in the editor where I see everything, that's not always very obvious. And so I like the fact that, he put that. Whoa, excuse me. I like the fact that he put that in context because I think it really helped me understand hey, you don't really need to use the entire map when you build stuff. You can just totally, cut it off at a certain point. So I've been trying to do that a little bit more when it comes to making levels. Um, I really liked that one. That was a neat idea. I liked how the block checkerboard was interrupted by invisible walls. Um, I might give that like at least a 4 in CCLP5 voting. That was pretty cool. All right, this level, I remember this one. This is a maze that has, for lack of a better way of putting it, a very consistent wall pattern where everything is on these diagonals. And I love this concept. I think this is really neat. I will say though that I feel like my relationship with mazes nowadays is it's kind of become a little bit more strict as far as like what I'm willing to vote highly for in a CCLP voting situation. And I think part of that is just because mazes at their core involve very similar things, and you can kind of mix up, what the obstacles are or what functions as acting walls, but at the end of the day, it's still a maze. And so I feel like in some cases it's more about the presentation than the actual layout. But like there are some levels that do well with both. Like I would say one of the reasons why Frozen Labyrinth was such a smash hit in CCLP1 voting was because it had a whoops, I did not realize that was a thin wall. It had both an interesting concept behind it and an interesting layout. And so that's something that I've tried to carry with me as I've designed mazes since CCLP4 is I feel like at this point you really need to settle on something that can satisfy both if you want your level to do well in voting. Um, Unless the concept is just that good or the presentation is that good. And that's kind of one thing I also wanted to address here is that I've noticed something very interesting when it comes to CCLP voting, having been on like a couple of different staffs now, or I guess three, right? Because I was technically on CCLP4s, even though I didn't. I did. That's the same one. That was the same trap. Why did I step into that? Okay, we are not going to do that again. But yeah, I feel like there's this kind of tendency to the levels that do well tend to fall into 2 out of 3 categories. You've got levels that are just exceptional as far as what the presentation looks like. You've got levels that have a very unique idea behind them. And then you have levels that feel very satisfying to solve. Like you get this endorphin rush from figuring out something, that kind of thing. And I think the levels that do the best in CCLP voting tend to check off 2 out of those 3 boxes. I think part of the reason why it's really hard to serve on a CCLP staff is that the decision to, and this is going to tie into some of the stuff that I talked about the other day with making a full 149 level set. And this is actually the one X factor, you could call it, that I didn't really account for when I talked about how long JBLP2 is going to be, and that's the difficulty curve. CCLP staffs have the unenviable task every time they assemble one of these things to make sure that the difficulty curve of the set feels good. Like you start off and you feel like you're accomplishing more and more as you go throughout this whole experience that you're playing through. And I get that there's an argument to be made that, well, you want to, make each level its own thing, and it doesn't really matter what the curve is. We're just collecting 149 levels or 200 in the case of CC2, right? But I feel like that's a little bit, and I haven't heard anyone say that lately, but I feel like back in the day that was more of a thing. I feel like that's a little bit reductionist because ultimately the entire pack is a product that gets evaluated by people and played by people and talked about as a singular entity and whatnot. And so it's very, I think it's very short-sighted to say that a difficulty curve isn't important. So that's kind of one of the things that's challenging as a level designer is that you make these levels, and I think you have ideas that come out initially in the design process, and I think it's pretty typical. Josh and Jeffrey, feel free to comment here and correct me if I'm wrong, because you've designed more levels than I have. But I feel like along the way, you start realizing, oh, this is going to be packaged as a level set, right? And I want the experience of playing through that set, on a 10,000 foot level, on this very high holistic level. I want that to be very, very fun. I want that to actually be enjoyable to play through. So I don't want the entire thing to just be hard level after hard level after hard level. I want it to actually feel like an enjoyable experience. Because the endorphins that you get, going back to that third category, you want those to actually last. Like, you don't want that to be, how do you get into that area? Like, you don't want the player to feel burned out, is what I'm trying to say here. So, I guess right now, where I'm sort of struggling as far as making a new set is that I'm making all these levels and they feel like they have a difficulty curve, right? Or sorry, they feel like they exist well on their own, but then I'm going to eventually get to the point where I'm going to ask myself, what exactly is a reasonable difficulty curve? And maybe that's going to be the thing that's going to inform ultimately how many levels there end up being at the end of the day. I don't know. Um, it could be that, it could be something else, who knows. But I'm hoping that whatever that is, it's actually pretty reasonable. But anyway, getting back to CCLPs and whatnot, one of the things I've noticed about voting that's really interesting is that there kind of tends to be, at least lately, this sort of communal expectation, and some of this is prescribed beforehand, for how difficult the set is supposed to be. Now, I think this started somewhat with CCLP 1, and that in and of itself was kind of a response to CCLP 3. Whereas that was just sort of like, hey, it's whatever, just whatever the best levels in voting are, and then that ended up for many people being a lot of very difficult ones at the time. And then CCLP 1 comes along, and there's a mission statement at the very beginning, at the outset, stating, hey, we want this to be a functional replacement, if you will, for the original game, which at that time you couldn't really purchase legally. And so the levels that were submitted reflected that. But it wasn't just the levels that were submitted, it was like the median of what was considered reasonably difficult ended up kind of being where most of the highest performing ones fell into. And it's funny to me how that increases with each set. Like with that one, it was a certain kind of point where people felt like, okay, maybe this will be, good, like level 100 material or whatnot. And so a lot of people, I feel like a lot of the best levels in terms of how well they did in voting tended to fall around that range, of like 100 or so. Okay, I think we need to go in here. Make a path for the fireball to fall through the fire before collecting all the chips in the room to the right. I'm assuming they mean this one. Let me get that real quick. Let me... Is the fireball going to go through this? I hope not. This is kind of guesswork if it is. I don't remember this level. This is... Yeah, okay, I don't think this is where the fireball comes from. But yeah, when CCLP 4 started voting, I remember at the end I saw some of the results, and this is public knowledge, by the way. The highest voted level, I want to say, was Duel, level 104 in the end. And I think that level was in CCLP 1 voting, and it did, quite a bit worse because, for that set, in that context, it would have been considered too hard. And understandably so, right? I mean, that's a pretty tough level for an introductory set. But, for a set like CCLP 4, it's perfect. So I'm kind of curious to see what that median for CCLP 5 is going to be. Because there's a part of me right now that's admittedly kind of going, I could design some levels that I feel like would be appropriate for that set's difficulty. And I plan to. I mean, that's going to be the case. But at the end of the day, I could be designing also things that could be appropriate for whatever difficulty people consider CCLP 6 to be, I don't know. It just seems like, okay, what? So you're supposed to go through there, right? Because you're supposed to go through the fire, if I read that correctly. I'm waiting for like a bomb to explode. Oh wait, it comes back. Okay. I'm going to assume that it did whatever it needed to do. I don't want to activate any of these walls because I'm worried that I'm going to need to push a block through these. I'm assuming I can just do that. But yeah, I'm expecting that that median point for CCLP 5 is going to be higher than it was. Whoa! Oh my gosh, that was not at all what I was expecting. Okay, so I'm guessing that this bomb is what it's going to blow up based on what I'm seeing here. Okay. This is a pretty cool level. I do like it. Okay. So this time I'm going to make sure I open that up first. So yeah, it's like right now I'm trying to like work the balance when it comes to building the set between building the levels I just want to build, which is, you know, generally what I want to do, and then building levels that I feel like will do well in an official set voting process. And I feel like it's unfair to myself to be saying, hey, you know, you need to make every level a masterpiece, like we talked about last time. But a masterpiece is kind of subjective, right? Because, I mean, something like we just talked about with Duel can be completely fine for one set, but maybe for another one it wouldn't be so appropriate. So, like, let's say in a few years, CCLP 6 or whatever ends up being, like, an even easier set than CCLP 1. Probably not, but I can see that maybe happening. You know, what would happen in that case? Would we dig out some of our old levels and say, hey, you know, these may not have worked for this, but maybe for this could be perfect, right? Who knows? I don't know. So I don't want to just build things just to submit to voting processes and whatnot. But I do want to build levels that I feel like everyone will enjoy, so I'm just trying not to make it all about the voting process and whatnot. I think that's kind of a little bit reductionist. So, I don't know. It's a thing. I'm gonna wait up here. That walker, man, this walker is evil. I'm gonna guess that there's something cool down here. Looks like another slightly mad section. Alright, I'm gonna wait again. I don't want to go for that yet. Okay, this is like Arctic Flow. It's down here. Okay. This kind of reminds me of Paw Print Isle. I wonder if a lot of the things in this level were inspired by other things. Do the Arctic Flow trick there. Okay, so I'm seeing here there's a few things going on. I've got this. Don't tell me I was supposed to build the bridge up there. Was that what I was supposed to do? Was I supposed to build over there? I saw the door here. I think it was here, right? I'm seeing this here now, and I'm kind of wishing... Yeah. Because ultimately, you have to get this around there, so... Ah, man. That really sucks. I get that you can see that, though, so that's my fault. But yeah, getting back to the question of how long this set should be, I'm starting to think that it should be informed more by the difficulty curve that I feel is reasonable for it, rather than an exact number. I mean, I want the number to be a nice round number or something that people generally feel is acceptable. But at the end of the day, I want the entire process of playing through it to be fun. And I don't want it to just be, hey, here's a bunch of levels, just play them, which is kind of what the set is right now. So, I guess that's just a long way of saying I'm hoping that the set is good, both individually as levels and as a whole with, you know, the difficulty curve. And I think if I can find that satisfying balance between the two, I'll probably officially release it at that point. Anyway, this level I want to say is shaped like Scandinavia, I think. Like, I think we're in that part where everything is like hanging off, you know, where it looks like there's a bunch of socks hanging toward the ocean. Just watch, someone is going to use socks hanging off toward the ocean as like a level title now. Okay, let's do this again. And now I just realized I forgot that chip, but I think that's fine. Alright, so I can get this. This is risky. Okay, good. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and go up because there's plenty of gravel to work with here. Okay, let me see where this door is. I was kind of distracted by the paramecia drowning. Okay, it's right there. See, I find it interesting that there's this thing here, and there's 5 blocks, and it takes 5 to get... Oh, there's a chip. Okay. I see now. Okay, it looks more obvious now that I'm looking at it from here. That's cool. That's fine. Also, this level's password is an anagram of Jedi, which I think is kind of neat. Okay, so I can go through here now. Oh, and I can get the block. Ooh, let's do this. I can then hit the other one. That's a pretty neat way to force this. I like that. Okay, so now let's get the last stuff here. Where's the final chip? It's not out there, is it? I'm looking outside to see if there's anything I'm missing there. Excuse me. Oh, sorry about that. See, there's the socket there, so that makes me think that... I have to believe that the last chip is out here. Yeah, here we go. And now we can exit. This kind of feels like a spiritual successor to like California from CCLP 1, which Josh made. So that was a lot of fun. I liked that. I'm not sure that would be a level that I would vote for like really highly, but I'd probably give it a 3 in an official set voting. Alright, exotic nonsense. Whoa, hi. Okay, every time I see like a line of monsters like this that's a fixed amount, I think of that one level from the other 100 tiles called like Year of the Dragon or something like that, or I forgot what it was called. It was something about dragons. Trial of the Dragons? No, that's a fictional movie from Persona 4, isn't it? Oh, what is the name of that level? Maybe it is the Year of the Dragon. I forget. But I always call these things dragons. I don't know if that's what Josh is referring to here by exotic, but... Alright, so this seems to be a fairly simple set collection, item collection thing. I'm so used to saying set collection in relation to, like, board games and stuff. Okay. Get that. Go over here, get this. And then we have the green one. The green one! Press the green one! Alright. And I think that's it. We can get out of here now. See where the exit is. Looks like this is all fake wall territory. I'm guessing these are real? Yeah. Okay, that's just another wall. Oh, here we go. Okay, not exactly one of my favorites, but it was enjoyable. Alright, Walkways of Shallur. Ooh, we have not beaten this one either. And I can kind of see why I was afraid to optimize this. It's funny, looking back on this now, a lot of these levels were pre-Super CC or Suck. And I wonder what I would do now if I were to optimize custom levels with Suck. Because back in the day when I kind of went on a custom level optimizing binge, we didn't have Suck. Like, that was... I feel like an old person. Back in my day, we didn't have all these crazy optimizing tools. You know. Okay, wait a minute. Am I just making circles here? Okay, this is interesting. I was expecting like a seeing stars kind of thing based on this layout, but now that I'm looking at it, it's like there's all this open-endedness to this layout, and I'm liking that. Okay. So things are going pretty well. I I'm wondering if you actually need the blocks. Do you need these? Or are they just for shortcuts? Because I'm starting to become convinced that you can actually walk around the whole thing without even bridging anywhere. I might be wrong, but I'm going to try to see if I can get away with that. I mean, I can bridge there, but we've already been to this area. So, I don't mind taking shortcuts like that. So it seems like more of the challenge of this is trying to make sure that you don't accidentally, like, do an Amsterdam-style cook in terms of getting to a chip. Okay, so we have 2 left. Where are these other 2? I like the aesthetic of this with these walkers and... Oh, I forgot to close my window. I hear the noise of cars out there. I'm sorry if that's been kind of loud for everybody, by the way. I don't think I've heard too many cars, but I have my earbuds on, so... Okay, let's go and just do this. That's 1. Anything down here? No, nothing down here. I'm wondering if we'll need to bridge anywhere for the exit. I don't remember if I've seen the exit or not. I don't think there's any block under, or chips under blocks, right? Oh, there's the exit. Oh, here we go, right here. Okay, so you do need to bridge to that. Okay. So that's going to involve a few of these, but not that many. Alright. How do we get to that space on the right? I'm a little concerned. Because, like, I can go here, but I can't really do much else. Unless there's, like, a hidden trap button. You know what? I'm going to roam around and just look for stuff. By the way, one thing I noticed when watching the previous video was that, well, 2 things. One of them is an issue that I forgot to address after somebody mentioned it during the CC2LP1 Let's Play, and that is that there's, for whatever reason, this issue where my microphone clips whenever I say, like, a P sound. It could even be doing it now. But I noticed that my intake on my recording software was set way up so I can hopefully be louder than the game, and I think because I went past 100, it ended up just blowing out the sound instead of actually making it, you know, meaningfully louder in any way. So I'm turning it back down to 100 to see if that fixes the issue, and I'm hoping it does. The other issue is that, okay, I'm not seeing a button. I'm a little worried now. The other issue was that I noticed that the game looked a little jerky in the footage that was on YouTube, and I'm wondering if that's because I had it set to 30 frames per second. And oh wait, I can just feed a block down there. I'm an idiot. What was I thinking with that? So I'm setting it to 60 just so hopefully more can be captured. Alright, Walkways of Shalur done. That was an enjoyable maze level. So yeah, maze levels. I didn't finish talking about those. One thing I've been trying to do more is do more levels where the maze part of it involves like some form of modification. Like using blocks or doing something to, I don't know, just make it more interesting. And I hesitated and I knew I was screwed there. But yeah, I've recently built a maze called Aquatica, which is based on, the name comes from like a board game that I've played. And I'm really proud of this level. I'm really hoping it makes it into an official set because I would love to see it included in CCLP 5 or 6. It's basically this idea where you have these force floor paths, but they're all kind of disparate and there's water that isn't. So it's like the water is its own maze, but then you have force floor paths that function as the walls of the maze that you can travel on. And they kind of they sort of make this like gravity well thing toward the center. And so then in the first part, there's all these blocks with water underneath them, and the blocks, you basically have to like push them in such a way that the force floor paths connect. And then in the second half, you get to go back through the maze such that you get to all these keys that you couldn't get in the first half because there's like a key nail. And you're supposed to like be able to get through all of them, get to all of them via those paths that you made. And I don't know, I just love this idea. I think it's really neat. So I don't know. I'm hoping I can make more mazes like that where it feels like you get to build stuff out in some way. I think that would be really cool. But blocks are a perfect way to do that. Speaking of blocks, Aesthetic Junkyard. So this level was interesting because in Walls of CCLP 1, I made a level that was very similar conceptually to this one, and that was not a good idea. And I totally forgot that this level even existed. I think until I posted a preview of it. Wait, can I avoid getting that? I don't think so. But can I get over there? Because I can't really get out of this, so... Okay, I know I'm missing something. I have to be missing something, right? Unless there's a door under one of these things. Is there a door? Well, I can't really even... Oh, there! Okay. I thought I had pushed that already, but apparently not. That's a little mean. I feel really stupid for not seeing whatever this is. I think... Okay, no, it's not that. Oh, here! I can just do this. Ha 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 ha. Oh, but now I covered it up. Silly me. Okay. So yeah, the level I made was based on the Walls of Loose Pocket from CCLB 1, and it was called Scrap Heap Scraper. And the concept behind it was that you did something like this where you were pushing blocks into very specific places. But what was interesting about it, I think, was that you ultimately had to do this thing where there were blocks that you didn't push into like corners and stuff, and you guided some of them through the maze thing that you built. And I thought that was like the coolest concept. That's another level that I'm really hoping makes it into CCLP 5. Okay, so here's this. Oh, was I supposed to avoid that? I bet I was supposed to avoid that too. Yeah. Man, there's a lot of little tricks in this one. I forgot about this level. But yeah, I was really proud of the way the Sokoban was arranged and just how everything came together, and it was just a really fun level to build. Like, I feel like blocks are just one of those things that feel very satisfying to wrangle. You know, if you push a block somewhere and it sticks in a corner or some place where you know it belongs, that's one of those things that gives you one of those endorphin rushes, like I mentioned before. Okay, so don't get that. There we go. Okay, that was fun. I liked that one. Toggle Lounge. I remember this from the original release of this set. It's this really interesting toggle parody concept. That's a neat idea. I like that. Can I go anywhere? Okay, there we go. I like this idea of having to find these spots that you can switch the doors through. I think that's neat. Okay, I need to figure out a way to... There we go. I need to make sure the parody was right for doing that. This is a really neat idea. I like this one a lot. I wonder how this did in CCL before voting. I need to look. Because I still have the results. Because I feel like this would have been in that, right? I think it was. Yeah, I need to go back through here. Whoa, no, 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 I didn't mean that. Okay, we have this room down here. This room. And this room. Okay, so now we can get out of here. I take it there's an exit somewhere. Hey, I can touch the border. Woo. Alright, that was Toggle Lounge. Really fun level. I liked that concept. It was simple, but it's fun. Alright, missing number. Okay, I think this is a path I need to follow here. Okay. Oh. Well, apparently that was it. Okay. That was very random. I don't know what to make of that. Alright, well, we have completed another decade, so I think I'm going to stop the video here for now. But next time we're going to start with Quiltholm, or Quiltholm, depending on what, if that's a Dutch name or not. But until then, thanks so much for watching, everybody. I really appreciate your support a lot. It means a lot, and just thank you for sticking with me throughout all this. I know my uploading schedule is really inconsistent, but I'm going to try to see what I can do. I think I might start uploading this like every other day or something. I'll do the first episode today on April Fools, and then I might do every other day or like do a 3 times a week thing. So yeah, this one will be posted on the 3rd, and then I think I'll do 3 a week from that point on. So thank you again for watching, and I will catch you next time. So take care and see you then.